Hello everybody, my name is Ivan Ethos, and welcome to the latest installment in a Nutshell, with my warframe buddy Gauss here. So, again, if you missed my earlier videos, and I'll probably do this for this video and the next video as well, life has been busy, so I haven't been on or streaming or anything for the last almost year. I apologize to anyone who was looking forward to new videos with the new warframes, or content discussions and things like that about Warframe, but life does come first. So, here we are with Gauss. Gauss is a warframe that came immediately after Wisp. He was kind of introduced as part of the Saint Altara expansion? More like a blurb. It was more like a blurb than it was anything else. And Gauss is a pretty fun little warframe. A lot of people were worried that Gauss would become Volt 2.0, and that he would completely negate anything and everything about Volt's abilities. Now, I think that was somewhat founded, and I think in some of the ways his abilities are kind of a little more streamlined than what Volt's was, and I really hope that they take another look at Volt and maybe do some changes to him because of what they've done with Gauss. So, the most important thing here, we're going to quickly look at his base stats, give you a couple of seconds to look at those. So, he has, again, a very high sprint speed, but that makes sense because this frame's all about dem speed, baby. He has a little lower energy than Wisp did, but he has higher shields, and he has the same health pool and the same armor capacity. Now, I know some people who will probably more likely than not go, wait a minute, why do all these other frames have like 50 armor tops? It's because they're old, and that's the only excuse they have. The old warframes, when there haven't been really done any updates to them, they have absolutely atrocious armor capacities. Which is like, why? Why don't you just go through and give them a little update, a little nudge? Because they don't want to. So, basic information, Gauss was released in an update 25.7. So that was August 29th, 2019, for people who are paying attention to that one. You can pick up his parts in Tier C Disruption on Kelpie Sedna. So, Kelpie is on Sedna, which is one of the moons that you get access to. I believe if I remember correctly, it's a moon of Saturn. No. It's a moon of Jupiter, according to astronomy, I believe. It's a moon of Jupiter. But Sedna is there's a disruption mission, so it means you have to go in there and claim the terminals and hold them for periods of time and destroy the demolists who come to blow them up. Pretty basic. Apparently in C rotation, which is I want to say it's every third one. It's 3. I know for a fact that it's every third one is rotation C. And rotation C, it's a 7.84% chance to get a part. So he can be a bit of a pain in the neck to get. As you can see here, I have not put any form in him. This is what you get from the get-go, besides this will be locked out. His abilities, which we're going to showcase here, are a little bit weird for doing in this particular setting, because they require a good amount of open area. So, firstly, nope, not what I wanted to do. I did bad. Ivan did bad. Ivan might have a problem. Let's just go ahead and kill enemies. We want them at that. We just want to pause their AI. There we go. Sorry, bodies have fallen. So, as you can see over to the right-hand side, Gauss has this little bar, and I'll explain that in a minute. And then he also has his 4 abilities. He uses energy, and there you have it. So his abilities now are, his passive is, moving generates an electrical current that fills Gauss's battery. Shields recharge at up to 220% faster, while the recharge delay is up to 80% shorter based on battery level. So in order to show this, I would have to turn off their frozen AI and let them fire at me while I move around, and you'd see my shields just be like super damn fast in recharge. It's great, but there's also a problem with that in some cases. So my first ability is Mach Rush. It's one of the abilities they showcase the most on live streams. Now, or the dev stream, sorry. So what this does is it bursts into a hyper sprint, bowling over enemies and charging the battery. Crashing into solid objects generates a powerful shock rage. Shock rage. Well, that kind of works. Shock wave. Hold to rush continuously. So, I will showcase this, and hopefully not run off the edge of the map and die. See, I can run into people. And as you can see, the explosion is moderation. Again, that's why it makes it a little bit harder to do it here. Ooh. Because no enemy is really going to grow up next to these pillars unless you force them to. So in this case, I'm just running between them and like smacking against walls. Now, one of the things about Gauss, again, is kind of weird, is he's much more of an open area, no edges to fall off of kind of frame. But this ability, Mach Rush, can deal a pretty good decent amount of damage. And it's a 10-meter range at 800 damage of impact, which makes sense. You're smacking into some force. His second ability is Kinetic Plating. You generate armor plating that converts a portion of absorbed kinetic damage, physical, heat, cold, and blast, into energy. It also protects Gauss from being staggered or knocked down. The damage resistance is relative to the battery level. So yes, up to 100% damage reduction. You are reading that correctly. The thing is, it drains your battery as it's being used. So the only way to keep it up is to move around, which makes sense. Gauss is a frame all about movement and mobility. One of the cool things is you don't actually have to worry about this particular ability because it doesn't have it has a duration, yes, but it primarily focuses on your movement. So you can turn it off and reactivate it at will, which can be pretty darn handy from time to time. Now, if you look, I don't know why that happened though. I was going to say, it knocks them down. Oh, it does knock them down. It does kind of knock them down when you do like little sprints through them occasionally. So that's his second ability. Good damage reduction. It's a great way of keeping moving around and not have to worry about too much damage coming at your face. His third ability actually has two effects. So it siphons kinetic energy from the area, charging the battery and inflicting cold status on nearby enemies. You hold to reverses the process, draining the battery and inflicting heat status on nearby enemies. The damage it deals is comparative to how much charge you take. So the more enemies in an area actually deals more cold damage and also keeps your battery up higher. And if you have the higher your battery is when you release that energy by pressing and holding, the more damage it deals. So do that. See? And they're all kind of taking some damage over time. Kind of nasty, actually. And I can do it again over here, too. And if you notice, it actually changes its field of control. You can't have two of them up like this, and you actually overlap their damage fields. But it does require energy, and it's a kind of intensive energy charge. Now let's go ahead here and simulate a few more of these guys, and then we'll do a release. As you can see, it hurts like crazy, even at a base level. Now, Gauss has one final ability. It's an ability that a lot of people thought was going to be ooh. Well, okay. The fire was still raging. They all kind of died. His final ability is called Red Line. And Red Line pushed Gauss's battery beyond the red line, supercharging his abilities and setting fire rate, attack speed, and reload speed and holster rate into overdrive. When past the red line, bolts of arcane electricity dance periodically from Gauss, exploding en masse when the ability is deactivated. So these numbers are in relation to how high your battery rate is. So if I activate this, see how this is going above and beyond? See, not just the baseline, but it's also a little close to that guy. And as you can see, it kills them because it actually is a fair bit of damage, you know. But I can do this, and as you can see, it does a pretty hefty amount of damage, and that fire rate is pretty high. Look at that. So, something to keep in mind is the red line can be a very, very effective tool. Still, though, of his abilities, I still appreciate his third ability the most. Also, because you can activate it after you've frozen a place and actually cause blast status. Again, the biggest problem is his energy efficiency is kind of terrible. So, Gauss, one of the cool things about Gauss, and I will showcase this a little bit further with hiding this level enemies to level 100, not 10, level 100, is Gauss really is, with his own abilities, pretty viable all the way up to some of the end game content. See, he doesn't seem to do much damage with that, but as soon as I release that, enemies have blast, they are on fire, and they take a pretty decent amount of damage. And you can repeat this process quite a few times. Now, obviously, one of the things that people are going to say a lot about Gauss is that he's primarily not used in close quarters fighting because of how he plays. And I agree. No, him in some of those smaller tile set missions, he's just kind of a bit of a rush. He's just ramming into walls constantly, and the damage is so minute, you really can't afford to use it as your primary source of, fight. So, one of the things I want people to keep in mind is Gauss is not a super great warframe. At least in my own opinion. In the open world, he's pretty good. His buffs that he gives to himself with his red line are really handy. But his natural energy efficiency is really atrocious. So how do you mod him? Well, I would mod him directly for that efficiency. Now, my first go-ahead, it's kind of actually... I made this particular build as kind of an economy build. I have adaptation, so I can use it, but if I didn't have adaptation, I would probably use something like Vigor, or Vitality, or even Redirection, Steel Fiber, something simple. Vigor would probably be my first option, because it gives me a little bit of everything. And this is really all I did. Really all you really need to do, besides giving yourself a little bit of efficiency. So change that into continuity, because again we're going for economic build here. And then find ourselves Streamline. And then you kind of have an overall economical build for this character, and his abilities become a little bit more manageable. Obviously, some of the numbers aren't changing, which is understandable. But like Thermal Sunder can do a lot more damage now, so in both heat and it's cold. So now if I summon these 100 enemies back, it actually might deal a little bit more damage to them. See, it's slowly charging up my field, and if you notice, this is a pretty darn big circle of doom. And I can completely freeze them. This is something to kind of keep in mind. So, before, I had to use several iterations just to get them down to this amount. So with that economic build, I can actually kill level 100s with a little bit of work. Three taps, basically. I can do Mercy. But I said I could do Mercy. I said I could do Secret Mercy. Oh. But yeah, as you can see, I can kill level 100s with his third ability in an economic build. Now, with a power build, I haven't experimented, so we're going to give that a shot here. So in Configuration B, we're going to go ahead here and throw down Corrosive Projection, because why the heck not? We're going to go ahead and give him Blind Rage. We're going to go ahead and give it Transient Fortitude. We're going to go ahead and give it in... can't use Intensify. Yeah, we can. We can use Intensify. So we have all of those, probably plus Prime Continuity for that duration. And so we have the max amount of power strength we can give it to besides Power Drift. And then we're going to go ahead and give ourselves... I could do Fleeting Expertise. There we go. Give ourselves Fleeting Expertise. Don't need to worry about that extra range. Let's do that. Then we have 100% on everything at the very least and 285% power strength. So we're just going to see what the power strength bonus will do if we run this way. So again, level 100s. So first things first. Oh, that's a pretty good battery increase. Not a very big effective field, but, I mean, not too shabby for damage, for sure. Oh, I said I could do it? Nope, okay. So what does that look like in numbers? So our Mach Rush is now 2,200. This one is up to about double what it was before. With my economic build, this is about double the damage that it could do before. Red Line can get up to a holster speed of 104%. Whoa. But if you notice, the attack speed and the reload speed have not increased, although the fire rate and the area damage have. So it's kind of interesting to see what those two numbers would increase if it would be increased by something different. Because we have a little bit to duration, just to remember that. Now, as you do notice, the damage reduction percentages can't go above 100%, but its base level is increasing. So if you look at the base level, it's 20 to 100. So having a higher power tank actually brings up that damage reduction's base to higher levels. So it actually could be viable to play Gauss with a range and power strength build, not really focusing on efficiency, although it's kind of necessary, isn't it? So that's Gauss in a nutshell. He seems to primarily work with his guns. He does have two weapons. One's a secondary, one's a primary weapon that he uses and tends to be more efficient with his abilities. He works primarily with his weapons. His abilities themselves are more for situational awareness and not necessarily for like casting repeatedly and being a DPS. So up to you how you want to play him. Again, you can play at maximum range and just watch things get super slowed, and you can be kind of supportive that way while firing around with your weapons. But primarily, Gauss is about his weaponry. Primary, secondary, melee weapons. So, if you've enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment in the comment section if you have a comment, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I hope you have a safe day. Until then, everybody, I will see you all in my next video. Bye-bye.